fights, medical malpractice, contractual issues you might have, criminal issues, you name it. We take on all comers here, and perhaps it's you. Between now and 6 o'clock, 330-729-9977, 330-729-9977. Let's check in at the law firm of Beatrice Kopp tonight and see if attorney Mark DeVecchio would be with us tonight. Let's shake it up a little bit.
Negative.
Bueller.
All right. No, okay. No, the DeVecchio isn't there.
No.
All right, let's try this. Let's see if the kingmaker himself, the kingpin himself, the dean of the firm, attorney David Beatrice, is there.
Bueller.
Okay. Okay, let me see here. Let's
Ron's going down his Rolodex.
hang on a second. Let's see if that attorney's with us from Cincinnati that is a big free speech guy that wears a bow tie.
He's got no speech tonight, Ron. He's not here either.
He's silent.
Okay. Let's see if that woman's with us that does I forget, she's a firecracker, but who knows why I can't even remember. Let's just go.
She's with Beatrice in Florida.
Oh, okay, I got you. All right, well, then let's just check in with who we have left behind. It sounds to me, folks, I mean, first of all, I recognize the Bueller. That's got to be the pride and joy attorney James Melfi.
Hi, Ron. How you doing tonight?
I'm going to see, I could recognize your voice. And boy, I tell you, sitting by your side is the inventor of trestle tortellini, I believe, if I'm not mistaken.
That'd be correct.
Hi, Frank. How are you tonight?
Good, Ron. How are you?
Frank Cassis is with us as well, one of the great attorneys at the firm. Good to have both of you guys with us. You're going to take on all comers with some legal questions tonight. Are you on your game tonight, guys?
We're going to try our best.
We'll be fine.
Well, that doesn't sound very enthusiastic, Frank. You're
I'm
going to try
very
your best.
enthusiastic. We checked in with the Commodore earlier. He was sitting on a curb in Florida.
Making TikToks.
Yeah, we've since talked to him. He seems like he's okay, so we're all good.
He's a TikTok phenomenon.
No, he got banned.
Really?
He got banned.
Oh, yeah, he's banned.
He's banned.
Really?
Yeah.
What did he do now?
I don't know. He said something he wasn't supposed to, but there in defense of the Commodore, there's some different rules with TikTok. He didn't call. I guess if you say like gun on TikTok, you have to call it a boom boom stick
Or like a
Oh,
pew
really?
pew.
or a pew pew.
Oddly enough, that was my nickname in high school. Boom boom stick.
There you
I don't know why.
How'd you get
But it
that
was.
nickname, Ron?
I'm not sure. I'm still trying to figure it out to this day, but I still answered to it. As soon as you said it, I snapped my head and
Yeah.
said, "Oh, you're calling me?" All right, let's take some calls.
But
What do
let's
you
say
guys
this though: when his TikTok got banned, he was like a small child that lost their dog. Like he was just roaming around, putting up signs, lost, find my TikTok account, reward. He was really distraught.
He's appealing it.
You know, he's upset because he lost his TikTok account. You're lost, Melfi, because you can't find your lunch because Beatrice ate it. That's the problem you have, right?
Hey, Ron, did you ever see the movie Hook with
No.
Robin Williams, Captain Hook? Dustin Hoffman plays the Captain Hook in it. The one lost boy loses his marbles and he's looking for him for years, and he can't ever find him. That's David without TikTok.
That is your fearless leader right there.
It's
All
honestly
right.
giving Frank and I great content to make fun of him with.
Oh, and I am the perfect audience for that because I love it when people are doing such a thing. Let's take some calls. You're on the air with our attorneys tonight. Hello, caller.
Hi, how you doing?
Good. What's your question for the guys?
I have a friend. His name is Don, and he got really sick or whatever, and his mind was messed up and everything. Had bad physical problems, and he went into the hospital. Then he got out of the hospital. He's in the nursing home now. He's doing much better. But at the time when he was messed up, his daughter went in there with a power of attorney and took his debit card, put his vehicle in his name, out spending his money and everything. And he's telling me, he says, I didn't know what I was doing. I thought I was signing papers to take care of things for her to pay the rent and that sort of thing. And I'm just wondering, is there anything he could do legally when he gets out of the nursing home?
Well, that's a good question because he didn't know what he was signing, apparently. Guys?
Yeah, so I mean, I think it would depend upon you can he can challenge that. So that's kind of odd, right? Because I don't know that I've never personally had a situation where the actual person who signed it over then challenges the power of attorney.
Yeah, and I've had a case in Florida where it's the will was changed and the guy died and the children were
Right.
fighting where the money went. But here's the problem with it. Did she spend the money on the debit card?
Yeah, she's spending money. I don't know how much he has left, and that sort of thing.
He needs to get on the phone, go to the banks, do what he has to do, rescind that power of attorney. But the problem with the debit card is it's not like a credit card with fraud. You only have a certain amount of time to dispute debit card transactions as fraudulent. So if a certain amount of time has passed, he could be out of luck, so to speak, on the debit card. But I would call
hang on a second, Jim.
Yeah.
Let me ask you this, and Frank as well. First of all, he signed something giving her the power of attorney, but he was unaware. He is stated to this gentleman unaware of what he was signing. He wasn't coherent when he signed it. Now, can't he make an argument to the probate court that listen, I don't even know what I was signing.
He could, right? So I mean, somebody notarized that, somebody witnessed that, so you would have to pull those folks in. But one problem that always would exist in a scenario like this is if the money's gone, how do you get it back?
Gone,
right? I mean, so what kind of net worth does she have in the event that the money is gone and you have an action against her? Can you ever recover?
Yeah, I mean, she could be
but you
charged
can
with
certainly.
I would try. Yeah, no, for certain.
I would get on the horn, call all the banks if he's mobile, go down to the banks. Power, the power of attorney is revoked
now.
Stop it
there's
right
no
now.
doubt about that. You can stop it. The question is, could you recover what she's...
They're saying another month or so, maybe longer, to get his strength back, and his mind's coming back. But at the time when I'd go in and see him when he was really messed up, and he would talk gibberish, and you didn't know what he was talking about, and all that.
He needs a lawyer.
He needs a lawyer.
Yeah.
I mean, she could be charged with theft from a protected class.
Right.
I mean, there could be restitution orders.
There's elder laws that would protect him.
So he could always get a lawyer. You guys are saying to go to the nursing home to pursue this on his behalf, correct?
Yes.
Absolutely. I mean, I would get somebody to intervene for him immediately.
You got to stop the bleeding.
Good luck with that, and do what they say. I mean, when these guys give you that advice, they're not saying think about it and do it a week later. They're saying get on it right now to stop you from losing everything. Isn't that sad? You know what? One of you guys was once telling me how, I think it was David, who said there's nothing worse than when you see a family arguing upon the death of a parents over an estate.
It's terrible.
And it's terrible.
Yeah,
I mean,
as
terrible.
necessary as money is in the world, it's the ruination of everything, because it's amazing how close families can separate because of money when somebody passes away.
Right. I mean, can you imagine, and it depends on how big your estate is, obviously, can cause conflict among kids. Let's say if you had a rather large, expensive boat that you docked in Sandusky, let's just say as an example, it could be ugly. Wouldn't you agree?
It could be very ugly. Could be.
Okay. Yeah. All right. You're on the air with our attorneys tonight. Hello, caller.
Howdy, gentlemen. I have a credit card question.
Yes.
For 35 years, I had a Firestone credit card because I used to be a Firestone employee, and that's how I bought my tires, 6 months, same as cash. The bank in Cleveland that used to have that decided to convert it to a MasterCard, and they gave me the choice of either accepting the new card or they'd close the account. So I accepted the new card, and the day that I got it, we went to a fundraiser for Save the Deer, and I pulled the card out to buy raffle tickets, and they'd only accept cash. I thought I put it back in my card in my wallet, but when I got home, I couldn't find it. So I immediately called and reported it lost. And I've been fighting with that company for 2 years. They refused to honor that as a fraudulent. Somebody charged like $70 or $80 worth of dinner at this restaurant where the fundraiser was held. And then when I called, they said, we'll close that account and we'll send a replacement. I never received a replacement. And the next month's statement came with all sorts of charges on it. So I immediately called up, reported them fraudulent, and they've been denying it for 2 years. They finally charged it off, about $600 and some dollars, and some attorney, some law firm has picked that up. They bought the debt, and now they're going to try and sue me for that. And I'm only on Social Security. What are my options?
So there's procedures for the credit cards of how you dispute it. Did you follow through with all of the procedures? Usually they send out emails or you have to do phone calls. Did you comply with all of those procedures?
I did everything by phone. I called their customer service department. And even the last time I called the customer service, the agent that I spoke to agreed that shouldn't have been, I shouldn't have been charged with that. They should have written that off, and they didn't.
Did you
And
get
finally, after 2 years, they decided to just write off the debt. And so that's on my credit report. Of course, I don't care. I'm retired. I'm not buying anything. And then some law firm picked this up, and now they're going to try and sue me for this. I've already gotten one certified letter, which I rejected. There'll be a second one that'll come. And then the third time, they'll do it by first-class mail, and I'll be considered served.
So they
I've
already
been down
filed
the
the
drill
complaint.
Yeah,
before.
so, I mean,
I have some familiarity with courts.
All right, listen to the attorneys.
so
now.
if they filed the complaint against you, you can dispute it and fight it, but you've got to get a lawyer to do that, which means that you need to hire a lawyer to establish that it wasn't you, that you weren't there.
They were not authorized transactions.
Right. And so that's how you start this process. And then,
Let me ask you guys a question on his behalf. God, I feel like I'm turning into Beatrice. You know that Progressive commercial where you turn it into your parents? You say that they got you on the hook for $600. Is that accurate, caller? Yes or no?
Pretty close.
All right.
Yeah, 660 something.
All right. Now, let me ask you this, guys. And the credit card is gone. They voided it, right? There's no more charges on it. Is that accurate, caller?
That's correct. It was just 1 month.
All right. By the time he hires a lawyer, it's going to cost him more than $600 to pay the
100%.
Yeah.
debt off.
100%.
Call up the
Here's the
lawyer and say,
question.
give him $300 and make it go away.
Yeah, I mean that's one of those deals. Right, Ron's right. I mean, you should just try to negotiate something on your behalf where even if you paid the full amount, it would be less than paying an attorney to get involved. Unfortunately for you, I understand you didn't do anything wrong, but that's one of those deals where it makes more sense for you to try to call and say, hey, I'll give you half. Send me a release and go away.
But if I'm the caller,
Okay.
I'm outside of my mind.
Oh no, I would be so
Personally,
mad. I would be too, but it
Yeah,
really
but
is-
hang on a second, guys. Think about this for a minute. I mean, and I want you, caller, to think about this. With all due respect, you lost the card, supposedly. You were at this event and you lost the card. So you're to blame for losing the card. And now you got
That's correct.
$600 in charges. And you're not, and when they
That
knock
was
it,
from
okay,
That
just
was
hang
from
on.
the replacement card that
Okay.
never arrived.
Okay, well, guess what? Then you're saying you're not accepting the certified mail coming because you're not answering your door. Well, you know, one thing I'll say, and you tell me if you guys agree with this. As I say, I'm turning into David. The last thing you want to do is ignore these letters and ignore the lawsuit they're filing against you.
that's very true.
I'm not ignoring it.
Well,
All that I'm doing is I'm making them go through the motions. I know the law. The cheapest way to serve somebody is 2 certified letters, and then if they're not accepted, then they'll send first class, and then I'm considered served. I'm going to do that before I call them and negotiate with them, let them know I know something. I've been in courts a long time.
But what
I
does
used to
that
be
get
I
you,
used to,
caller?
Testify for the Social Security Administration.
okay, what's that get you? Is what you said.
What does that get
Look
you? How
where
that
you
doesn't
are.
put you any further ahead. I mean, it may make them jump through more hoops, but what do they care? I mean, that's what
Yeah, why
that
don't
I
you
just
firm
want
does.
them to know that I know enough about how the system works.
No,
You know,
no,
I
but-
can represent myself pro se.
You're just being a pain in the butt. Why don't you accept a letter and start making the calls and resolving the issue?
I intend to do that
All
once
right.
I'm served with a first class letter. I just want them to understand I know how the system works.
All right. Well, I bet you they don't care. All right. Thanks. I mean, I think he's. How do you describe that?
Well, I would tell you this: if you pay a lawyer to handle that, that's what I would call throwing good money at bad money. And what I mean by that is you're going to pay more to hire a lawyer and fight that than it would be to do what we said, either negotiate a deal on your own behalf or pay the full amount.
But that's bizarre.
Well, what
though.
gets
Credit-
me is that he's saying, well, I know how the law works, so they're trying to serve me.
Well, yeah,
Well, okay,
I understand
accept it.
Yeah,
I mean,
right. And that
I mean,
doesn't
it's
make
just
any
stupid.
sense.
I mean, yeah, why are you being a pain? You lost the card. They're trying to serve you. Accept the letter and then get on with the proceedings
Yeah.
and resolve the issue.
Well- in fairness,
once again, he should not ignore the courts or them getting a judgment against him.
No, he shouldn't. You're right. And in fairness to the credit card company, I mean, if somebody ran that card and made a charge to it, they don't know. They don't know that it wasn't him. Now they may eventually,
Right.
but if he's not responding to him, then they don't know that at all.
Right, exactly. So that's why I want to know if he complied with the procedures, because usually, I mean, that's not a big amount to dispute. So
Not at all. In my experience,
But, yeah.
they would probably say, "Hey, we get it," and they'd block the card, say it was a fraudulent transaction, and send him a new card. Or
Yeah. Remember
That's
that time,
bizarre.
Melfi, when you and I were at the Gentlemen's Club and you lost your card and we couldn't believe the charges that were on there.
yeah, I know. Well, yeah, we already spent all of our cash when we were there too, so that's why we were swiping credit cards.
Yes. And none of those charges, we didn't make any of them, did we, Melfi?
No, I made zero. I wasn't even there.
Yeah, me either. Okay. You're on the air with the attorneys tonight. Hello.
First, quick comment. You were talking about Dr. Hook earlier, and the big question is he was a captain of a big ship. You just got to wonder if he had a dinghy. But other than that,
A
I'm
broken
going to
one.
be as concise as I can with this. My daughter, unfortunately, is in prison in North Carolina. She served 12 months of a 34-month sentence as of February. She was told during sentencing she would get credit for time served, which was 8 months in county jail prior to the sentencing. She checked her release date the other day, and it looks like she did not get credit for that time served. So what can either she do or what can we do to help her find out why that didn't happen?
I would call the lawyer that represented her, and he
Well,
can.
Let me interject real quick. That he's a public defender and he does not answer phone calls.
Well, then hire another lawyer.
Yeah, I mean, so
okay.
yeah, so if she was given credit time served, it should be reflected in the journal entry or on the court docket. So when she was sentenced, the judge should have made a record that says she's serving X amount of time, credit for I'm just making up, but 500 days in county jail she did, 180 days in county jail she did, whatever it may be. But that's where you should
Yep.
be able to substantiate that, and then the court can send that entry to the prison, and they would handle it from there.
I see. So it is possible if it was either an error and it didn't get in there properly, that and she was deserving of it, that an attorney could look into this and make that correction, and then she would get credit for that time served.
Yeah, and if the attorney's not responding and you don't want to go hire a lawyer right away, you may have some success with calling the judge's chambers who sentenced her and asking the bailiff, "Hey, can you pull this judgment entry and let me know? We believe that she was entitled to X amount of time," and the bailiff may pull that and say, "Hey, you're right," and send that off to the Bureau of Prisons, or they may say, "Hey, it's not reflected in here. It's not in the agreement." But that's how I would go.
Oh, excellent. Well, yeah, that would actually be a good step. We'll call the judge's chambers and talk to the clerk maybe, and then maybe we'll do it that way.
All right, I got to ask you this, caller, and just
Yes.
be straight. What did she do to give it the Crowbar Hotel that long?
It's unfortunate, but she was got a third habitual felon charge for drug-related life for over 10 years. And they said, there's nothing we can do. You're either going away for, it was like supposed to be 4 years and 6 months, or accept this plea bargain. And she said, well, I guess I'll accept the plea bargain. So
Good luck.
Yeah, good luck.
All right.
I appreciate it.
Thank you. You're on the air with our attorneys tonight. Hello. Welcome. 526.
Yes. Thanks for taking my call.
Yes, sir.
I have a question about a student loan.
All right.
This goes back to the early 2000s. My wife had co-signed for a small student loan for a friend of hers. We just recently got a letter in the mail saying that her friend's name was taken off of the loan, and now my wife is responsible for the remainder of the loan. Here, I researched it a little bit. Apparently, she had filed for full disability, and under that, she could be taken off of her loans. And now her cosigner, which is my wife, is responsible for the balance. Do I have any recourse against that?
Do you still have the loan agreement?
I don't know if she has a copy of the original loan agreement. That goes back to like 2003. It's been a long time.
I'd pull a copy of the original loan agreement and see if there's any provisions in there. If, the other party becomes disabled, you assume the responsibility of the student loan. And if if she signed that and it says that, you're in trouble.
Right. But if it doesn't, you could probably sue her.
Yeah.
You can go sue her for the money. But they're going to get their money no matter what. Your recourse would be against the person who took the loan out, but for there being a clause that Jimmy just described where you can't pursue them.
Okay, yeah, I don't think there's any way we're going to be able to get a copy of the original loan agreement because, like I said, that was over 20 years ago. Fortunately, the balance was a little under $1,200, and to make it go away, we just paid it off because we were getting late notices in the mail.
That's a smart thing to do.
Yeah, that is smart, and
yeah,
it is, because then you alleviate the headache for yourself. But I mean, truly, you could probably pursue her. I would pursue her until somebody tells me I can't.
Okay, would you suggest maybe small claims court or something?
What state are you in?
I'm in Youngstown, Ohio.
Oh, okay. Yeah. That's too much money for small claims if it's under 12 grand.
He said 1,200.
Oh, 1,200. I'm
Yeah.
sorry. 1,200. Yeah. Small claims.
1,200. Okay.
Yep. You can file small claims.
Okay.
Good luck.
Okay. Even though she did file for full disability.
Yeah. I mean, you may not be able to get disability money, but there may be some other money there. Who knows? And you can file that without an attorney, so it's not going to cost you any money to do it.
What's the filing fee? 50, 60 bucks?
50, 60
Okay.
bucks.
Yeah, go get them. Thank you for your call. Attorneys, stand by. That's Frank Cassis and James Melfi, Esquires. Back with them after this. Warren Marble and Granite creates legacies. A memorial is to honor the lives of those who have enriched ours. We create timeless monuments with the finest material. agrees. This is a legal show brought to you by Beatrice Cop on News Radio 570 WQN. With our attorneys tonight, at the helm is Attorney James Melfi, who's joining us, and of course, Attorney Frank Cassis, who's doing a show with us tonight on News Radio 570 WQN. How you guys holding up? The first half is behind us. We did halftime there. I mean, are you guys ready to go? I mean, are you like the Philadelphia Eagles? You coming out charged?
Yeah, ready for the second half.
Okay, good. Glad to hear it.
We're gonna push this through the end zone. It's fine.
All right, that's how it goes. All right, you're on the air with our attorneys tonight. Hello there.
Hello, am I on?
Yes, you are. What's your question?
Yes. Thank you. Yes, my question was about a photo ticket for speeding.
Where, in what community? Where do you get it?
Yeah, okay. In
What-
Youngstown.
Youngstown.
It was
Okay.
for Market Street.
The school zones. Okay.
Right. Okay. Now we don't normally go that way. We're out in the Liberty area, but anyway, so it was 7:23, so it was dark.
Yeah.
It was January 31st.
Yeah.
And the ticket says it's going 20 miles over instead of going. I'm sorry, was it 15? Instead of going 20, it was 35. Now,
7:23
we did not see. I used to work out that area years ago.
Yeah.
Did not
Okay, I
even
get
know
it.
that
It
there's
was
a
dark.
school
You didn't
there.
see it and all that. I get it. Can we make this quick? The bottom line is,
Yeah.
do you lease your car or do you own it?
No, own the car.
All right.
But I'm saying, but we did not see. I wasn't driving, but my husband and I
Okay.
didn't see the sign. The school zone sign.
All right.
But we certainly think we would have seen if there were flashing lights. Now, I don't think it has to be flashing, but we didn't see that
All right. Well,
either. So, what are the thoughts then with that?
Well, I think what Ron was saying is in our experience, if you own the vehicle, likely you don't need to do anything. If you lease the vehicle, it's going to get billed to your monthly payment.
Unless you dispute it within a certain amount
Right.
of time.
And most of the time it's too late by the time you learn of it. But just out of curiosity, the school zone only operates during school hours.
Right, it was 7:23
Yeah. I mean,
all right. So I guess that would be
a.m.
school
I'm
hours.
sorry, a.m. Right.
oh,
Right.
AM. I thought you
Yeah, I'm
meant you
sorry.
didn't see it because it was dark. Okay, yeah. I mean,
But it was dark. Yeah. Uh-huh.
Well, she has a number of options, right, guys? I think there's a process where you can go dispute it in person if you want to do that.
yeah,
correct?
you could do that, or you could just
Yep.
kind of let it
I mean, you
But
can.
I didn't
Well,
know would
lady.
it be a good idea to do that because of what I told you, which is exactly right. What I told you, we did not see any
All right. Well, go.
flashing lights, but we also didn't see the school zone sign.
All right.
yeah,
Well,
you could dispute it on that basis.
Yeah, you could. I mean, there's probably a better way you could spend 2 hours. But
Yeah.
I mean, if you want to, go ahead.
yeah.
Because it might be helpful.
Yeah. Well, go give it a shot.
Could be.
Here's your options. A, you can pay it. B, you can go down and dispute it. Or C, you can ignore it, not pay it, ignore the collection calls and the letters because they're not
No,
going to do anything
Do that.
if you don't pay it.
Yeah.
Nothing happens. To
Three
you.
options.
So there's 3 options. You pick which one you want.
But how do you mean nothing happens to you if you ignore it?
Because
Nothing's gonna
nothing,
happen
they,
to you.
they say they'll take you to collection, they'll do this, they'll do that, but nothing happens. All right. You decide what you want to do. All right, Leadfoot, you're on the air.
101 FM, Jacksonville,
All
Florida.
right. You're on the air. 101 FM.
That was different.
Hello.
Yeah. Hello.
Yes, go ahead, sir.
It's me?
Yes, sir. It's you. Please speak.
Okay. Sorry. So on the credit card guy, I had a quick question before my other question, which is I thought the credit cards had a nominal amount that they can only charge you of like $50 or something because they own the card. And I would assume the timeline would be very, very critical in that case.
There's no nominal amount.
But the timeline is critical.
Timeline's critical.
Okay. All right. So a totally different question. So I have had some fairly small hospital bills, medical bills, because I had a pretty tough 2024, and we've kept up with our bills, but we've got a couple of bills that just came directly from collection agents. Didn't get a bill from the provider. Okay, and I've paid
one of those, and I just got another notice here today. Same provider, same reference number, same bill, $30, right? And I talked to them on the phone, and they're basically saying, hey, that other provider may have applied that money to something else that I paid them, which is really odd to me. And they still want their money. Now they're going to send me to another quote-unquote customer service part of their organization and see what happens with that. But my question is on these nominal bills of 30, 10, 15, and I've been getting a bunch of these. They also seem to be coming from an odd place called Per Your Health, which online looks like a scam. I'm wondering whether I should pay them.
What hospital? Why don't you call a hospital and ask them?
Well, this is UPMC. I have called them. I've gotten in some cases a case where I've talked to them and said, hey, we talked to the provider. Now UPMC, the insurance place, does not talk to you about the providers. They're independent. The providers generally don't want to talk about their billing, by the way.
But you're suspicious. You're
a service.
suspicious, and it looks like you're being scammed on this stuff. Why do you have that suspicion? And it
let
might
me
be
ask-
justified. Go ahead.
Ron, let me ask a couple questions here.
So
Hang on, caller. Hang on.
So
Attorney
these
Melfi,
these
please.
are outstanding bills from the hospital, correct? Not your insurance company that covered a portion of it, right?
correct.
All right.
The insurance has covered their part.
If you call the hospital, in my experience, if they say, well, the bill's zero, but it went out to collections, ask them who the collections agency is. Call that collections agency. If
I know who they are. They've called me.
Well, then call them.
Yeah. Call the collections agency to see
I did call them. I got one bill from one provider, and I paid that bill online.
No, I got that.
2 weeks ago.
But
So
you said to
what
the attorneys
happens-
that you think it's a scam, the collection
But
agency.
here's what happens too. Collections agencies can sell debt to other collection agencies. So call the collections agency that UPMC told you they sent it to. Call them, see if they sold some of the debt to this other collections agency.
Right.
And if it matches, then you owe it.
Yeah, you could be 2 or 3 times removed in a
Right.
collections agency from who they originally sent it to.
Caller.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, but you're concerned that you think you're being scammed.
Right, but
You
that's why you
potentially-
start at the top.
Yeah, you start at the top and work your way down.
All right. So these are 2 of probably 10 or 12. The other ones have come from this place called Per Your Health. Okay, the 2 that I dealt with today were from 2 different quote unquote local agencies. The bill was the same, $30.22. The numbers were the same, and so forth. It seems like what you had said was they passed it from one to another. Okay, but these other bills, I've tried to pay them, and they won't accept anything but a check. I mean, it's 2025.
You could pay by card. I would start at the top and trace the collections agencies. And then if they don't
Really?
match,
Okay.
then it could be a scam.
Would they accept a credit card?
No, they wouldn't.
Hmm.
They wanted a check written.
A written check.
And
That's the only
I
form of
refuse to
payment.
do that. I mean, it's 2025.
Yeah.
That sounds odd.
Okay.
It sounds odd. Usually have a payment
sounds
portal
odd,
too.
yeah.
You could pay with a credit card or debit card. I mean,
Yeah.
that's
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, that doesn't sound.
I mean,
that
I
doesn't sound
agree
right.
with him to be suspicious, but not to say that that's what's going on. But I'd be suspicious
No, I would
based
be
on what he
too,
said.
but I think you got to do your due diligence and start from the top, and then if things don't start to add up, then make a decision from there. But I would start by seeing who they sold the debt to.
It's
Right.
weird. It's
So I've talked to UPMC about this, right? Who's the insurance cover, and because we couldn't get information on some of these bills, and they're nominal things like $10,
right.
$15, and so forth. And I've mentioned to them that it looks like UPMC's billing system has been purged
Right.
in some way or another, because I'm getting these weird bills from this organization called Courier Health.
All right. We heard that
that-
the first time. You got to do what they said. I mean, I got all that.
You
want
want to ask for an itemized bill from UPMC. It'll show what your insurance paid, what the hospital wrote off, and what's due and outstanding, and then trace it from there.
Okay. That's where you go. You're on the air.
Hi, am I on air?
Yes, sir, you are with the attorneys. Go ahead.
Oh, perfect. Hey, thanks for having my call. I just have a quick question. It's a medical type thing. I had a procedure done years and years ago that caused an effect to where I could only eat so much food, and I ended up going back to the same surgeon years later for the side effects of the surgery that I had before that I didn't know what they did. Here it turns out they had folded over part of my stomach. I went to the same surgeon, and he said that it sounded like my gallbladder. So he went in and took my gallbladder out. The symptoms still remained. I went to the Cleveland Clinic years later after tons of procedures and all of this type of stuff going on to find out that all of this was coming from the procedure that he did the first time when he folded over part of my stomach.
Did they fix it at the clinic?
No. So the procedure for having that done, they'd have to go back in, undo the flap that they had put in my stomach, folded it over. And they said that they don't commonly do that.
Now, was this some surgery because you were fat to lose weight or anything like that?
No, it was like an acid reflux type thing, but he said there was a hernia in there as well.
Mm-hmm.
And he folded over the top part of my stomach and wrapped it around my esophagus, I guess, was a way that they did it then, but they don't do it no more. But I had no idea that's what he did.
How long?
Yeah, let me ask. Yeah,
right.
let's
So
two
how
questions.
long ago, and when did you learn about it?
Well, I learned about this probably 5 years ago.
Okay.
That's your-
yeah,
you're
you're
out.
out. So when did you
Statute of
have the
limitations.
original procedure? When did you have the gallbladder? If it was more than 4 years ago, typically it's when you knew or should have known, but Ohio has a statute of repose. So more than 4 years, even if you just discovered it on year 5, you're out of time.
Right. And even if you were under that, if you knew about it 3 years ago, but you did nothing, it's when you learn about it or when you know or should know, you have a 1 year statute of limitations for a medical malpractice case in Ohio.
Gotcha. Okay. Yeah, that's what I was kind of thinking, but it just kind of irritated me that for the last 15 years, if I ate anything and drank a glass of water, it made me basically just ill.
Yeah.
Really?
that
Like if
stinks.
you
Mhm.
could you eat a hamburger or what?
I could eat anything, but as soon as I drank any liquid, it filled up my stomach almost instantly. And it basically just caused me to
Right.
vomit almost.
How much do you weigh today?
I weigh the same that I did then, around 170.
But you're not enjoying your meals.
Well, no, I basically got to eat nonstop because as soon as I eat something and drink something, I get sick and then I have to eat again. I mean, it is what it is, I guess, but it just kind of just unfortunate.
Too bad initially you didn't go to the Cleveland Clinic initially or after the first problem you had, as opposed to going back to the guy who did it,
Yeah, there was tons of procedures that they did, gastric tests where I had to eat a radioactive egg several times and they would see how fast it went down. And there was just tons of things that they did over the years to try to figure out what was going on. And then I went to the same surgeon that did the first surgery and he said, sounds like a gallbladder.
And it wasn't.
He took out my gallbladder.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it was from something that he had done
I
years
got you.
ago.
Yeah, I hear you. All right. Thank you. You're on the air. Hello.
Is this me on the air?
Yes, sir, it is. Go ahead, please.
Thank you kindly. Thank you for taking my call. I appreciate it. And so I'm a seller on eBay. And to make a long story short, sold a gentleman a watch for $1,750. And he proceeded to do a chargeback through his bank and was able to then get the chargeback and to keep the watch. So I'm out, obviously, my watch and my money. So I'm wondering if there's any recourses that I might have.
Why did he dispute it?
I think he was just trying to pretty much steal it. I think he was playing games.
Well, did he say it was fake? I mean, eBay has what, an authenticity guarantee.
So
So if he fights with his credit card company, there's a reason he's disputing it, and then the merchant gets an opportunity to respond to the dispute.
Correct.
Okay.
Yeah. So yeah, I like I said, I made it real short, but yeah, we sold him the watch. It was a man's watch. It was a men's watch, and he then claimed it was a female's watch. And so then we had to jump hoops. Well, initially, then we said, "Hey, do you want your money?" No, we gave him a $200, and he said then he was happy. And then at that point, then he
you refunded him $200? Yes or no?
Yes.
All right, because he said it was a female's. Was it a female's watch?
We don't believe so. All the research that we've done indicated it was a man's watch. It was a gold watch from the '80s, so it was a
vintage. It was a smaller face watch.
It was a big. I mean, a little bit smaller, but not a female.
What brand?
No.
What brand?
It was Seiko. It was a Seiko.
Okay. But he did return $200. He must have given. I'm asking the attorneys. I'm asking the attorneys. Doesn't that acknowledge something?
Usually, eBay, if you offer them a refund, it usually closes the case with eBay. If he made a dispute with eBay, the interesting question is, because he refunded the $200, did that guy waive any other rights to dispute with his credit card company?
That is an interesting point.
But I think, I mean, who knows where does this guy live?
He lives in California.
And he has the watch still?
In Inglewood, California.
He has the watch and the money.
Inglewood always up to no good.
Correct. That's correct.
That's Tupac.
Yeah, it was very precarious. Yeah, we refunded him his money, and then I'm trying to think what happened after that. Then he said it didn't work, and he wanted more money at that point. Then he was like, it's going to cost me like $300 to get fixed. At that point, and even prior to that, I said, hey, just send it back. It was a gold watch. I could have scrapped it long, you know what I mean? And so I'm like, just send it back.
I'm gonna give before we go any further, I'm gonna tell you why, unless you sue him in California, you're out of luck. eBay sales, there's not enough. The law calls it personal contact with the state of Ohio. There's a bunch of case law out there. So if you say you sued this guy in Ohio, you got service, any lawyer is going to file a motion to dismiss because Ohio doesn't have personal jurisdiction over it. So unless you're going to sue him in California, you're out of luck.
Worth your time, right?
Right. Well, not to interrupt you, but I'm in Tennessee now. So I'm calling you from Tennessee.
It's still California.
Yeah.
Right. So
okay. All right. Okay. All right.
Yeah, you've got to sue him there to go.
All right. Yeah. We didn't know how far we wanted to really pursue it. It was just one of those situations. Just grinds at me that he was able to get over on it.
Yeah, that's frustrating. But that's one of those deals I feel like with eBay and some of the Facebook like sales that people do. You're always in a little bit of a gray area there.
Oh yeah.
I get it. All
right.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, yeah. Okay. Yeah.
Thank
I'll
you.
let you guys. Okay. Thank you.
Yes,
You're on with our attorneys tonight. News Radio 570 WKBN 552. Hello there.
Yes. Thanks for taking my. Yeah. Hello.
Yeah. Go ahead.
Yes. Thanks for taking my call. I was in an accident back in the middle of October, and I was taken to the emergency room by ambulance, and I had a lot of X-rays. I had whiplash. MRI. So I didn't really know. I didn't really talk to the police that was there. I was waiting for the ambulance. It was in my car. They took me in a stretcher. And I didn't really know who was cited, but I knew it wasn't my fault. I had witnesses behind me and in front of me. And so my question is, the very next day, the other person's insurance came to my house, and they offered me a couple $1,000. And at that time, I didn't really know, I didn't have no police report. I wasn't available. So I did not take it. And took me 3 or 4 days to get the police report. And so that same day, the day after, I called an attorney. And I got an attorney involved, and I signed up with them. A very, very big company. My question is, I have some bills that are months old, and they're like at level 4. and I don't want my credit to be ruined. I have very good credit. It's taken me, years to establish that. And I did call my attorney and finally got a hold of them. It's real hard to communicate, but they said, go ahead and pay it, pay some of it, pay on it, and then you'll get reimbursed. So I did start, I'm going to make a first payment in a couple weeks. So that's my first question. And the second question is, I finally got the police report 3 or 4 days after the accident, and it wasn't my fault. It was very clear that they ran the stop sign. And so the second question is, can my, it's going on almost to a month of March. How long does it take to do this? I mean, is this a real long, drawn-out process? I really haven't heard anything from my attorney other than when I called maybe 4 weeks ago and talked to them.
The accident was in October, caller? The accident
Listen
was
to the attorney.
The accident was in October?
Yes, October, middle of October.
Yeah. So, first of all, you have counsel, so I don't know that I really want to give you any advice on this because you do have a lawyer. So it probably wouldn't be in our best interest to talk. I mean, I would call your lawyer and talk to him about what you should do for the next steps.
Okay. Well, they did tell me to make some payments, which I am. It's only like $55
I mean, I would listen to the advice of
bill's
counsel
like, I don't know,
because you've retained
$8,000,
counsel.
but-
So
Okay.
you've obviously, when you hire somebody, you want to listen to what they have to say. So just trust that they're leading you in the right direction.
And one last question: can they drop me? Can they actually drop me because maybe the case isn't too big, or you know what I mean? Is that possible? Does that ever happen?
Yeah, they could, but I don't know that they will. And it just takes time sometimes. These things don't happen overnight. So it does take a little bit of time to get this. They have 2 years to file a lawsuit in your case.
Oh, I see. Okay, so it does take time. Okay.
Yep.
Well, thank you very much.
Yes,
Thank
sir.
We appreciate your call. News Radio 570 WQAM. You're on with the attorneys. 555. Hello. Go ahead.
Hi.
Yeah. What's your question?
My question was, I've been paying child support. I live in the state of Pennsylvania. I've been paying child support faithfully for 13 years, and I am now on military disability with an income of $1,900 a month, and I just found this out a month ago, and I had a child support hearing because I wasn't paying for a couple months. And I was fine with the judge and everything, and now that I'm on disability, I'm only 80% with the military. But now that I'm on, my income is going to be $1,900. I had a child support hearing, or the conference, and they're going to consider that income. My question is, how much do you think they're going to take of that? Because I will no longer have the ability to make more to make up a difference, whether my cost of living.
So that's the Commonwealth. I'm not exactly certain what they consider in child support, but I will tell you there's no, at least in Ohio, there's no bright line rule, but some things they consider is whatever the custody split is, how much time you spend with the kids compared to when your ex-wife would have them or the child's mother would have them. There's all different factors that courts consider, but to say to you how much would they take out of it, we could never answer that. I mean, there's no bright line rule, at least not in Ohio.
Sure.
I don't think they'll take I don't think they're going to take so much that he can't survive out of
they
a disability.
generally courts don't do that.
Well, that's I don't have an attorney because my wife and I, we don't speak. But what we always understood, it's for the good of the child, and I'm definitely not trying to get out of anything.
Okay. I'm running short on time. Let me ask you a quick question. Did you go to the Child Support Bureau in PA? Yes or no?
Yes.
And did you tell them this is how much you make, and didn't they look at a table and tell you what they thought you'd have to pay?
Interestingly enough, no, they did not look at a table. They just said we'll be sending you a notice, which it'll come in the mail, like it
telling you what you owe.
So there's, I don't know in PA, but in Ohio there's a child support calculator, which you may be able to plug some numbers in and see how that works out. But like I said, they consider all sorts of different factors when calculating child support. So it's who carries the insurance, how much time, there's a litany of factors.
Right. Yeah. No. You're absolutely right. There's not going to be a magic wand. I just wanted to make sure that it's going to be because before I was working and I was making money.
Going to want
now
you to be able to live.
Right.
Okay.
Well, no,
thank you very much.
Because on the other,
you've been paying for what, 13 years? How old are the kids?
Oh, yeah, almost 14.
The kids are almost 14.
Yes, and everything's paid in full. I've never missed a
Good news
payment.
is you'll have 4 more years.
there you go.
True.
All right. Hope you feel
All right,
better.
thank you.
Thank you. Legal Show brought to you by Beatrice Cop with attorneys Frank Cassis and James Melfi. We appreciate both of your time tonight. And
Ron, the Commodore was listening.
Really?
Yeah.
Well, then he learned how to do a.
Thank God, because you'd have had to hang out.
Then he just learned how to do a great legal show, didn't he? If he was listening, gentlemen,
To
it's been my
listen
honor.
and take callers. Yeah.
See you, Ron. Have a good night.
Thanks, Ron.
All right, thank you, guys. News Radio 570 WKBN. That's the Legal Show brought to you by Beatrice Cop every Thursday at 5.
Program will be recorded. Los Angeles 2021. A friendly neighbor appears out of nowhere and promises to make all my dreams come true.
Let's not forget that David Bloom was a professional con artist.
But my dreams soon turned into a nightmare. I'm Caroline DeMore. Listen as I take down my scammer on Once